Hello and welcome to the AHRI video update. I'm Nicole Snyder, the Communications Coordinator at AHRI, and with me today is Amy Shepard, our General Counsel. Today we're going to be talking about AHRI's position on the Department of Energy's, or DOE's, commercial boiler rulemakings. So Amy, can you start us off and tell us what is the general issue?
Sure. Well, I'm going to start off with a little bit of background, and since I'm a lawyer, I'll go back to the statute. That's what we like to do. So the statute is the Energy Policy and Conservation Act, or EPCA, and it's laid out in a certain way to make sure that DOE can promulgate efficiency standards that make sense for the industry and sense for consumers. And it's pretty simple. It starts off with some definitions. It defines what a covered product is, and then it says this is how you're going to test the equipment. This is how you're going to label the equipment, and here's the efficiency standard you have to meet. But it's really important that things go in that order because you can't really measure the efficiency until you know how you're going to measure. So if I said to you, Nicole, I need a 3-foot long board, and then I said, once you give it to me, I'll tell you how long a foot is. It just doesn't make any sense. So we have to kind of go in that order of test procedure before efficiency standard. And furthermore, in the statute itself, there's also an acknowledgement. Congress recognized that changes in the test procedure can change the efficiency standard. So when DOE goes through and updates a test procedure, decides how the changes to the test procedure will be made, it could impact the efficiency standard. So in the statute, DOE is required to go through and evaluate whether that affects the standard, whether it makes it more stringent or less stringent. And if it does, DOE has to make changes to the standard so that in reality, the test procedure keeps the standard the same.
So how does this affect the current commercial boiler rulemakings?
For the current commercial boiler makings, DOE is not following this process. So DOE has proceeded with the efficiency standard ahead of the test procedure. So in fact, we have 2 NOPRs right now, and the test procedure NOPR comments are due a week after the efficiency standard NOPR. So what that means is really manufacturers and even DOE don't know how this will be measured because they're making changes. So we can look at the test procedure NOPR and say, well, we disagree with that, or we don't think that's right, but we don't know the changes that DOE is going to make. So they're having to use either the old test procedure, which won't be used to enforce the new standard, or we have to sort of guess at what in the proposed test procedure will be used. So either way, you can't really test and evaluate your equipment to know how it will be measured under the efficiency standard. And I think most importantly, DOE is not going to use the old standard for the test procedure to enforce the new energy efficiency. So they really need to go in the order that's laid out in EPCA so that they're using the test procedure that they'll use if they ever do enforcement testing.
So how have we asked DOE to fix this?
Well, in this particular case, usually when we have a complex issue, we'll ask DOE for more time to comment. But in this case, we've asked DOE to suspend the rulemaking on the efficiency standard until the test procedure changes are complete. And in addition to that being the way it's laid out in EPCA, that's really important because we've been here before. In the mid-1990s, DOE was doing this a lot. It was combining the test procedure changes with the efficiency changes, and we were seeing this problem. And Congress recognized that and put a moratorium on DOE rulemaking for a year until it said, DOE, you need to solve this problem. So they solved this problem through something called the process rule, in which DOE says that test procedures will be final and complete before the NOPR on the efficiency standard. And so that's what we're asking them to do here. Suspend the commercial boiler efficiency standard rulemaking until the test procedure is complete and follow their own regulations. And that's very important because DOE, rightfully so, has an expectation that manufacturers will follow the regulations that are part of the EPCA scheme. And it's important that DOE follow its own regulations as well. Otherwise, it undermines the integrity of the entire process.
Well, thanks so much for talking with us today, Amy. And please stay tuned for the next AHRI video update.